Why would a Swiss company with more than 10 years experience working with China look into Vietnam to manufacturing steel structure? On paper, manufacturing can look suitable. A brochure may show professional photos, a website may list strong capabilities, and a salesperson may explain that the factory can handle the project. But the real picture only becomes clear on site. Inaccurate cutting can create alignment issue. Poor welding control can lead to a defect on information. Inadequate surface treatment can increase corrosion risk. Weak packaging can damage the product during transport. That's the equation behind today's factory audit. Vietnam is becoming more than just a low-cost production destination. It is now a part of a wider China Plus One strategy for many international companies, especially as factories develop a more complete production workflow. Not more than 2 weeks ago, a strong signal came through. The EFTA, which includes Norway, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, and Ireland, has finished a negotiation with Vietnam on a comprehensive free trade agreement. This reflects EFTA confidence in Vietnam as a long-term trading and manufacturing partner, backed by the country's industrial strength, export readiness, and commitment to the international trade. In 2025, trade between EFTA and Vietnam reached around 4.8 billion euro, and we are witnessing this on the ground firsthand, with the most popular export category including electrical, mechanical machinery, footwear, and apparel. This new agreement will strengthen Vietnam as an attractive manufacturing hub and giving companies more confidence to invest and diversify their supply chains. But the agreement is only the headline. The real work is on the ground where we help companies transform their idea into reality. For a technical product like steel structure, the real step is still happening inside the factory. Machine capability, production quality, surface treatment, quality control, packing, export readiness, and just as important, communication and transparency throughout the process. So today we are conducting a factory audit as part of our vetting process to qualify relevant manufacturing partners. This audit is an essential step before we share any verified information with our customer and move the selected factory into the RFQ phase. This step is also critical because we usually see the gap between the factory on paper, on their website, or in their company profile with which really happen in the factory. Before we walk into a factory, it is important to understand why steel structure is a very specific category in Vietnam industrial landscape. Vietnam's steel industry has developed significantly over the past years. The country has built stronger capacity in steel production, steel processing, and steel fabrication, serving both the domestic construction market and export demand. But steel is a broad category. Producing basic steel products is very different from manufacturing steel structures for international clients. Steel structure manufacturing requires engineering understanding, accurate cutting, controlled welding, dimensional precision, surface treatment, packing protection, and project coordination. A qualified factory needs to work from technical drawing, maintain tolerance, control welding quality, manage deformation after welding, prepare products for international shipping, document quality checks, and communicate potential issues early. These are the points that separate a general steel workshop from potential long-term industrial supplier. The first question was simple. Among hundreds of steel factories in Vietnam, how many is actually relevant to this project? Before visiting the factory, the process starts with the supplier search. We first classify the client's product requirement, technical specification, production expectation, and compliance needs. For this case, it's what EN 1090-2028 Execution Class 3. It is not enough to identify companies that simply say they work with steel. The evaluation goes deeper into their real capabilities, product range, structural experience, equipment, in-house welding capacity, surface treatment, export track record, and ability to work with technical drawing and international communication. From there, we narrow the list from hundreds of companies down to a focused dozen of potential suppliers. The goal is not quantity, but selecting the right factory worth a physical audit before any client introduction. After the shortlist is in the factory audit. This is the stage where we conduct on-site verification, where the project moves from supplier information to on-site verification. On paper, manufacturing can look suitable. A brochure may show professional photos, a website may list strong capabilities, and a salesperson may explain that the factory can handle the project. But the real picture only becomes clear on site. During the audit, we look at the equipment, production flow, material storage, factory organization, technical communication, and quality control process. For international companies looking at outsourced production, this step is critical because many risks only appear later during the production, when delay, quality issue, or miscommunication become much more expensive to solve. Among the dozen factories we have shortlisted, all or at least most of them will go through the same on-site audit process. And the final deliverable for our customer, a detailed audit report summarizing each factory production capabilities, technical strengths, possible limitations, quality control process, communication level, export readiness, and overall fit for the project. The big advantage of this verification and assessment process is that instead of relying only on impression, photos, or price quotation, the client receives a structural and verified basic for comparison. From there, the next step can be deeper technical discussion, sample development, quotation refinement, or even a pilot order. Now let's go inside the factory and look at how the audits actually start. The audit usually begins with a short meeting with the factory management or technical team to understand their background, product strength, production setup, and current capacity. The main assessment then continues on the production floor. For steel structure, we review how material enter the workshop, including incoming material inspection, how they are stored, and whether the factory have a traceability system applied for incoming material, and how key processes are organized, including cutting, drilling, welding, assembling, surface treatment, inspection, and packing. Each stage directly affects the next. Inaccurate cutting can create alignment issue. Poor welding control can lead to a defect or deformation. Inadequate surface treatment can increase corrosion risk. Weak packaging can damage the product during transport. This is why we assess which processes are handled in-house, which are outsourced, and how quality is controlled throughout the production. Technical capability is a critical part of any steel structure project. The factory must be able to read drawing, understand specification, identify unclear detail, and clarify technical points before production begins. A qualified supplier should not simply accept all requirements without review. They should check feasibility, highlight potential issues, and align with the client on key technical details such as dimension, welding requirements, tolerances, finishing, packaging, and installation needs. So during the audit, we evaluate whether the factory had the engineering capability to support the client before production begins, not only during production. Quality control should be integrated into the whole production process, not just the final inspection. A capable factory should control incoming materials, cutting dimension, welding quality, assembly accuracy, surface treatment, and packing before shipment. Clear checkpoints, inspection record, issue tracking, defect correction, and preventive action are important indicators of a professional manufacturing partner. For international clients, this is where the difference between a basic supplier and a professional manufacturing partner becomes clear. Production capability alone is not enough. Communication is also a key part of supplier evaluation. Many sourcing issues come from unclear assumptions, late reporting, or poor escalation of technical and quality problems. For a Swiss company with years of sourcing experience in China, the expectation is not only production capacity. The supplier must also demonstrate structure, reliability, transparency, and professional communication. After working through these three factories, the key takeaway is clear. Vietnam offers a real opportunity for manufacturing. But the right factory cannot be chosen from the quotation alone. This is why factory audit is so important. It helps international buyers understand what factory can actually deliver, where the risk may appear, and whether the manufacturer is the right choice for their project. If your company is exploring manufacturing opportunity in Vietnam, make sure you look beyond the factory profile and verify what's actually happening on the ground. And if you need someone to assist you in vetting potential supplier, please feel free to reach out to us via our contact information in the description. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.